interesting, now we're in the digital world now, and I'm actually giving a little talk on the plenary for my tech group. And when I started looking into that topic, I was startled that this is a whole new platform, the digital platform, and with a lot of opportunities for new businesses to rise. And you see that you have Airbnb now, and you have Uber and all that. They were all founded by men. I mean, these were not founded by women. So, not to say that women are now using the digital platform. Actually, I think they're using more of the small entrepreneurs are using very much the social media and throughout the social media to really promote this and start new businesses that were not available before. But when you talk about the real big initiatives, it's still because there's somehow this feeling that maybe I am not good enough. Maybe still. I will let somebody else take the lead on that, and it's kind of it's a missed opportunity. But I'm sure that the more countries are offering, because I saw that kind of affair that my daughter went to was not available 2-3 years ago. I mean, those kind of things. For example, in Israel, we also have for the girls who go to, because it's the army service, the military service is mandatory. And of course, in the military service, you need really you could use a lot of the technology. And so they are doing some very specific programs for girls to kind of like prepare them for the next stage in the army. They usually are drafted when they're 18 years old. So just before they go to the university, they have another lap of time to actually pump up their education. And a lot of them are taking opportunities. You see now even women pilots, and they're going, definitely in computers. So you just, the countries, I think the more we are aware of this issue, of this issue here, how there is so little movement, although the higher education has become more and more common and more available to everyone, that in STEM, it's still very flat. Just to show, there was another study that was done, also interesting, about the women in STEM. What it shows here is percent of the women of the WEF to provide more evidence of competence than others to prove themselves. Look at the numbers. How much they have to prove, how much women have to prove themselves as compared to the men. It's like, I mean, more than half report that they really feel the pressure that they have to prove themselves much more. And since I'm talking about only women in STEM, and we talk about that colleagues have suggested they should work fewer hours after having children. So fewer hours means that you're probably blocked out of being in upper management and a way to progress up. But at work, they find themselves pressured to play a stereotypically feminine role, so that even though you might be, the famous stories that a woman comes into a male home meeting and they ask her to bring the coffee because they're sure that she's the administrative assistant and not one of the players. This is very common. And that women in their work environment support one another. Well, that's actually good news, that they do support one another. And when we talk about them being mistaken for either administrative or custodial staff, that's what I just talked about. So there are a lot of biases that women have to really encounter when we talk about STEM, about the technology. Are we okay with the timing, or that you need? Is it okay? Is there anybody that would like to kind of shed some light on your experiences, or what are your thoughts about how you would see our future generation, in the area of STEM, because that's kind of the hottest topic now is how it's women. And by the way, that in Israel they have a place where for the new startups, so that there is a college in Jerusalem that actually funds the startup, and they have a special startup for helping women. So it's not like right now whoever is more pushier or has the better idea or whatever. It's a special place where women are actually trained and prepared for to get their own startup get going, which is a very nice initiative.
Okay. So if I may add.
Okay. And I'll hand it over to you. Introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the first thing I would like to say, I'm a tech entrepreneur. I'm not a STEM graduate. I haven't studied science. So I'm a pure arts graduate, an English graduate, a communication graduate. So I've actually functioned as a media professional. But then I'm a tech entrepreneur. And as you understand, in India, there are very few tech entrepreneurs who are girls, who are women. So I basically started with content writing. So when I started with content writing, there was, I had to depend on so many people, so many other people who were like, no ma'am, your content is 500 words, my website has a program structure which will take in 350 words, otherwise the meta sig will break and there'll be no syntax and there'll be program errors. And I was like, okay, really? So it was all very frustrating because technology was a part I had consciously avoided as a child. There was no reason. I came from a very progressive family. My parents always encouraged me. I was pretty good in science, but somehow it was always there. In my case, people who study arts, people who studied English, who go to media are the glamorous kind, and I wanted to stick to that. So it was just a pure thought, right? But then when I studied English, when I started my content writing business, there was a point where I was driven to the edge, and I decided that I need to understand technology. There is no other way. If I have to speak to them, I have to understand what exactly their language is. I have to learn it. So it was a very conscious choice. And I made a very conscious choice to learn technology. So today when someone comes and tells me this happens, I look at him and I smile at him, and he knows I've understood that, okay, fine, this woman knows technology, at least the basic part what she needs to handle. I'm like, okay ma'am, no, I understand, this is what you mean to say. And that's the reason I see a lot of my women clients very confident of me, because internet, the business I deal with, is filled with very shady people, at least in India, at least in my city, I would say. So I see a lot of my women clients very confident of me. Yeah, being a woman, she's an honest woman who will not con me with technology, because technology, like finance, is one of the very easy things that people are scared, and so they can be very easily conned, right? So that is what I would like to start with. And then I would like to go on to say that, internet I find is fantastic. I think it is one of the great unifiers in the world. With internet, I can chat with my friend who is several time zones away. At the same time, internet, I can, with my iPhone, which is worth 70,000, see the same information which my driver having a 3,000 watt smartphone can see. So internet definitely is a great thing which actually unites us all. But then coming to the topic, is there a gender divide? Yes, when I think about it, there is a gender divide. And why so? Because gender divide is something. Now, let me go back and question. Is there anything you can think, throughout the world, there is one thing which is a thing where there is complete unity. Across races, across religion, across countries, across time zones. The unity is against the oppression of women. Anywhere you see, any country, there hasn't been a single country, a single era, a single race or religion that has proudly said that our women haven't been oppressed or suppressed. The world has united against putting women down, and women have fought back. So that has always been our history. So, yeah. So if this division exists everywhere, how can the digital world be different? The digital world, definitely division exists. Like, even if we go back today to a very poor Dalit household, and I question you, who do you think is the most oppressed person there? The most oppressed person is the youngest female girl child. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. But, I would also like to go back to a story. So, as I was saying, I function as a social media marketer, and I have this big retail electronic giant who is my client. And I was doing some Facebook advertising boost for them to sell their new mobile phone brand. And then I get a mandate from the marketing manager that, Ritusmita, please boost this ad only for men audience around this area. I said, why? I see a lot of IT women who come and buy the phone, so why do you want me to exclude them? And then I got this very serious marketing study from them, which said that women actually don't buy mobile phones. They're very low on consumer. Even if an educated woman buy mobile phone, he or she goes by the husband's phone, right? So that also made me to introspect and think a little basically, because yes, I have a very fantastic techie husband. So every time I have a technological challenge, it becomes a very easy way out of can you please see this? Because as it is, I have so much on my head. So, there are so much I want him to take care of. Can you please see it? So he can, though I run a tech company, he tells me, Ritu, to take this which has this ASUS and all and do that. Other parts of communication are confident. But yes, I think as we were discussing, it is all about the mindset. So the mindset that I will not learn technology. Girls need to play with Barbie dolls and boys need to play with cars. Boys will grow up to be computer scientists and girls will be, girls can be creative, glamorous, journalist or chartered accountant, like that, at max. So I think it is all to do with the mindset, which is, I thought it would be interactive. You could take up from me. There is nothing like that. So I think somewhere basic down, and I would also like to point to the second aspect. The guys who basically don't know or don't want to understand technology. So again, they are considered to be sissy. So if there is a boy and girl who are driving and the car breaks down, so like everyone will look upon the guy and say, hey, change the car tire. And the guy, it might happen. The guy might not know or he might not want to understand technology. But again, that is something considered to be wrong. Like that. So, what I mean to say, everyone need not learn everything. But it is important to learn certain basic life skill, and here I think that the education plays a major role, at least to give the person a fair chance whether technology will interest or not. And to teach some basic life skills, how to change a tire, how to change a fuse. I see so many people not even understanding that. So yes, the solution according to me would be changing the mindset and would be to inspire more people to come to the tech world make sure that a greater number of people can be inspired to join the tech world. So yeah. You are in education, Pooja. What do you think? What is the best way? If I were to give you a 3-year-old, 4-year-old, my daughter to you, what would you think would be the best way?
It's just not the school and the parent together who has to partner in changing the mindset of the child.
We need to start this tech education right now.
Yeah, from the beginning. So
These schools like
schools
be able to start this tech education right from primary school because they understand the requirements of tech. They should have a choice. Absolutely. Yeah. Inclined towards creativity, they'll go there, but if they're inclined towards science, they don't have an option. But right from the beginning, if they have this situation where they are just supposed to be not in the tech world, then they probably fall out.
And now we come from a city like Kolkata. Kolkata has a lot of girls' boys. Like you'll see, most of the places in India have a lot of co-education, but Calcutta, the best schools are girls and boys. So when you go to those schools also, the boys' school will have all the techie things. The girls' school will have roller skates, will have painting.
This is the aftermath of the convent schools that we have.
Yes, yeah.
Till today, they are supposed to be the best schools, but there's a girls' school.
And there's a boys'
school is a boys' school in Delhi. And you have this school which is Lorito is a girls' school.
Yeah.
So we all have been brought up from a convent girls' school. So we didn't see the faces of boys till their 15th, 16th. And suddenly, we don't come across boys, only boys we know in our cousins or brothers.
And now that scenario has changed because as parents also, like I have a 10-year-old, and as parents also we are very conscious that they're mixing with boys and girls. My son goes to Don Bosco. My niece is in Modern High. So boys and girls. Don Bosco has all the techie stuff. Modern High has all home science and creative and roller skates and painting. And it's not right. My niece is really inclined towards a lot of technology. So, and it's from the childhood.
And my daughters went to a school, Springfields here, which is a boys and girls school. And she's one of the only engineers from that batch.
But I think also
Studying analytics. So it's like when you're with the boys, you have to and they're seeing you to become
I don't see any difference.
if you're in a girls' school,
I think it should be mandatory to have a co-education school. I so agree.
But I think without like
The generation of
governmental,
my son is 23.
Yeah.
So I have seen his classmates are engineers and chartered accountants. In a metro city, it's not that much.
but I think at some point in the workplace, if there is no legislation, it all comes to, as we say, girls are getting higher education. That's not the issue. The issue is the promotion of that. As I said, it's getting them interested in learning, but also changing their own bias. But I think if we do have on a government level also the funding for the schools for these special programs, yeah, of course, and also so that that the schools or at the workplace, company and you have a department, you have to have certain percent of women that are in your management or in your work as your employees. Then things will start changing and women will start. But if you're one woman, like I just said, my friend, then of course nobody else would want. I mean, especially after she would tell her stories, and they were horrible stories. But she loves her profession, and there are women who love that.
I'll add something. My sister is a PhD in bioinformatics. She's just finished that, and trust me, the society, the entire society, and you know, it was a challenge for her. It was not an easy journey for her. There was a lot of struggle to reach that level, to fit into the community, whether you're here, whether you're in the US. You have your own set of challenges as women. And I've seen her go through that. But yeah, she's a PhD in bioinformatics. So it's not that women are not making it there. The journey is very different. It's very different.
I just wanted to say that in Australia now, we've got a new government in it, and part of their platform, I guess, is innovation. So they're really funding women to have innovations and actually get into the problem is, once they've completed their degree, is actually keeping women in that area. Because, you know, a lot of these kids are changing directions, so they might start in one area and then they go somewhere else. So, you know, we spend 100,000 educated in engineering, for example, and we get a lot of so, you know, these universities don't get their money back. Society doesn't. Because we're paying taxes for these kids to actually go to universities.
And it's interesting with, I just want to connect to what I told you that I talked from women entrepreneurship. Usually more the profile of women that have been in the corporate world or they have been an employee is that they get to, you know, between around age 40, that's when they make a shift to their career because they, you know, they raise a family, the work-life balance, and also they feel like they're not getting ahead. So, it's, you know, sometimes you don't know, you know, the chicken or the egg, what started first? Is it the women that are not wanting to be promoted? Or is it that because they get the message that, well, you're spending too much of your time with your family, you're not fit for this kind of a higher position? And that's when they actually make a big shift in their career and go on and opening their own business, which could be, you know, an internet business or whatever, because they're, and you see that a lot with male entrepreneurs, interestingly enough, they start at a very young age. Men start their own, if they are fit, if that's where their passion and desire it, they open their businesses, whoever is an entrepreneur, start at a very young age. With women, it's really that cut, that, you know, that transition at around age 40 that you start to think, well, okay, so what's next for me? I'm not getting it in my job. You know, I'm not putting enough time in my family. Then I open my own business. I'm more free. I could balance it in a different way and get more satisfaction and, of course, also even get more money. But this cycle, you know, can be broken, and especially, you know, right now with the STEM issue, because if the world is going, you know, the world is out there already in the digital world, and if we as women are not part of this, then we'll be behind. We'll be behind. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And so, you know, it's very hard. My daughter is a dancer. She's not interested in technology, but, you know, the other girls there that are in her age group, they're very much trying to get them and get interest in that area, because there has to be some kind of balance. Otherwise, we'll still be in that stereotypical role of being, you know, the housewife, basically.
I'd like to add a point here that yes, in India at least, women are using technology very brilliantly to set up their own businesses. Like, for example, if you, we have seen this particular portal, zivani.in.com. So, you know, which basically sells innerwears. Now, buying innerwear in India was a huge problem. People didn't want to go to shop and do that. So, you know, this young girl from a tier 2 city in India, I think her name is Richa, if I'm not wrong. So, she was from Jamshedpur. She has set up this rocking online portal which has made this like undergarment shopping so easy, and it's a wonderful concept. So she's a superwoman entrepreneur using technology, finding solution to the problem. So what I personally feel, if a woman decides that there is a problem and she will find a solution, she will find a solution. They're born problem solvers. And If we women decide we are going to use technology, there is no force on earth which will basically stop us. So we would know how to do the best. Like that.
And it's important to learn the basics because
It is
people
very
like us
important.
have been fooled by the companies that do social media only.
Yes,
So
totally.
give us also something that we don't understand. So we always losers. We pay
Absolutely.
money, we don't know what's
Yes.
happening.
Totally.
And then we change from one person to another one.
Yes.
It's not an easy thing.
I've been a
So
victim.
I'll tell
No,
you.
I've been a victim and then I
All of
moved
us
to
have been
her.
victims.
She takes care of my school social media. So yeah, I've been a victim and I've been so comfortable. I mean, with
Yeah.
her, it's brilliant.
So that's what I would like to see. While my woman
How
customers
do you
have
manage to
come
learn from English background to getting into the basics? Or
See, basically, again, I said, as internet is a great unifier. You can learn everything out there on the internet itself. And what is digital communication? But knowing what exactly the brand wants to communicate and using the internet techniques to do so. To teach the techniques, internet itself, Google has fantastic courses. So if you're a patient person, you have perseverance, you really learn. And if you know your strategies, you can do it well. So, I would also like to say, there have been several men, the moment I went and pitched to them, I could see that underconfidence in me that, how will she handle? She's a woman, usko kya samajh mein aayega technology? I mean, how will she know technology? She will not manage. So, while they were very happy giving me the social media part of it, when it came for talking mobile apps or website and e-commerce portal, they had a doubt that this woman will not understand, she will not know how to debug or how to do server, because there are these companies, as you rightly said, who would come and say all sorts of garbage thing, and it's very easy to scare in technology. So that's why I feel it's important for women to make an effort, even at personal level, to try learning technology. I think personally also, I'm also equally guilty. Basically what I've started doing now, every 3 months I give myself a new technological challenge. That by the end of this 3 months, I'm going to learn this. Because somewhere, as I mentioned, my husband, though he's very superior technologically, I don't like that high-handedness. Come on, if you are in this problem, you will have to come to me. So you don't want to
available
face that.
online. There are so many wonderful courses.
So I have this friend staying in Melbourne, Australia. So she's my bestie, and she calls me up one day very excitedly. No, I fixed a washing machine. I was like, oh, you fixed a washing machine? How did you? Because I know she's equally technology challenged as me. So I learned it from the YouTube what to do, and I did it. I said, yes, of course, we can do it. It's just the mindset. We have to do our things.
And
We
I
have to
think that's
understand.
what SEO. I've got so many times to like SEO.
SEO is the most trickiest of the world. SEO is not search engine optimization. I have heard my
200
clients.
words, 300 words.
I know.
It's like,
So, there have been companies which have called up my clients and said, Madam, this is a call from Google and I have reserved the first 3 pages in search engine for you. If you pay me X amount of money, this is what I'm going to release the first 3 pages from you. And I'm like, even Google cannot guarantee you that I'm going to bring you to this rank. So, it cannot. It's just a process. It works, it might work, it might not work. So, the moment I go and pitch to my client, I make it a point to tell him that it's a long-standing process, boss. You have to give me 6 months of time, and I will do my best. And at least 80% of it will work. So that way, I think maybe because women started late, though I started pretty early, I think women are very honest entrepreneurs, because honesty again is something very inherent in them. So if more women come to the tech world will again become a little honest, I feel, which is much needed. It's a very murky world. At least in India, it's a very murky world.
we always.
So if you're honest to yourself about what would you wish for your children or for your daughters or for your grandchild, do you embrace if they go to technology, or like if we're true to ourselves? This is a very kind of a private question that I'm asking. It's all nice in theory. The schools must promote. The schools must, give more resources to the STEM, to the technology. But inside you, would you like your girl to be an actress, or would you like her to, form her as some kind of a digital, business?
I don't care what I've got 4 kids. The kids choose in the end what they really want to do, and as long as they've got their passion and skills, to me that's everything. But if my daughter had said to me she wanted to be an engineer, I would have supported it 100%.
So again,
But I would like to advocate that
Yeah. It's like, again working on this whole question.
I have a question for her because I just spoke to her today morning and she is starting an online financial education thing for women. So if you would just say, because again finance and technology, two most difficult subjects in my life at least. I'm very scared of finance. I was scared of technology. So
What's the question?
my question is, why did you decide to do that? Do you also find there is a gap in finance for, there is a sort of gender divide there too? Finance.
So why did I do it? I did it because I loved it.
Okay.
My father basically said he wanted me to be a doctor, but he passed away, so I didn't have any hindrance anymore, so I did finance anyway. I think it's the same problem. There are not enough women in finance. That notion that women are scared of numbers is there, which is what I'm going to talk about in about 2 minutes if I won't find my room. So why don't we continue the conversation there, because that way, in case people are waiting for me, room 13, like now. So I will answer your question. In fact, that is exactly what my talk is about, which is basically the fact that the industry has made it so difficult for women to understand numbers, and they've drilled it into us that finance is scary, but it's not. Just like technology is not once you get into it, similarly finance is not, and there's a very, very, very easy way to fix it, which is what I'm going to talk
So you're
about.
going to teach us how to fix
So,
it.
I'm going to fix it.
our time is up already. You see, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I'm going to find my room in case people turn up there, right?
But I want to.
So I'll see all of you there? Yeah?
I want to take a picture.
Yes, you
Come here. Come here.
No, you can take a picture.
Yeah. So come everybody. Let's take. That's good.
I love
Some of these.
your slides.
Yes. They're so powerful. When you see those
When you
numbers.
see the numbers,
You see the numbers and you see just,
wow.
the facts of what's going on in education.
I'll see you around.
It's startling. So come, just take a picture and we'll ask,
Can I take one photo?
yeah, well, no, I want you in the picture.
Oh.
So, excuse me, can you take a picture of us? Can you take a picture of us? Oh,
Busy with some.
I'll take you.
Women
Are also taking a back seat. The more we are getting into it, they are most relaxed. No, you're not.
Oh, okay, good. Good
Are
time.
they helping the company? Are they?
No, he's taking, I'll ask you afterwards.
Very nice presentation.
Oh, thank you.
This is the beginning where you start.
At Israel. I'm from Israel. I spelled it wrong here. Israel. Yeah, no, right now. But I did work before.
Okay,
Yeah.
look at.
Come in the back. Okay.
Look at this camera. Hold it. 1 second. Thank you.
Can I have lunch on the phone?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When do we get these pictures?
Just one for us to present. Here.
Simulation.
And then take this one also. Okay, thank you. See, it smells good. Yeah, I'm so glad that, thank you all for coming. Thank you.